welcome to Puffin Virtually Live. Sorry for the late start. We've had some technical issues which we've now resolved. Thank you so much for joining us. My name's Alistair, and it's my privilege to host today's event with the internationally best-selling author of the Artemis Fowl series, Eoin Colfer. Today, however, Eoin's going to tell us about the first book in his brand new time-twisting series, WARP, The Reluctant Assassin, a preview of which you just saw the short trailer for just then. Now, we're talking to you live from Sadler's Wells Theatre in London, and as well as our live studio audience, we are joined by our online viewers from across the globe, so a big, warm welcome to you all for watching out there. I'm going to hand over to Eoin in just a moment, but I wanted to remind you that you can send in your questions for Eoin throughout the course of the event via the Puffin Virtually Live website, and Eoin will aim to answer as many of them as possible in the time we have towards the end of the event. But without further ado, please give a very big welcome to Eoin Colfer.
Good afternoon. It's nice to finally meet you for the first time. We have never met before, so let's get over that and get straight on to information. I wrote a book called WARP, which is W-A-R-P, and W-A-R-P stands for Witness Anonymous Relocation Program. So the FBI are taking witnesses from the present, not the peasant, and hiding them in the past where they cannot be found. And it has gone very well until now, when this horrible assassin from Victorian London managed to end up in present-day London, along with his assistant, who does not want to be an assistant. People often say to me, you know, where do you get the ideas for all this crazy stuff, all these dreams, all these nightmares? And I say, well, I have got 4 brothers, and if any of you have brothers here, you will know that there is no shortage of mayhem when there are boys around. I know girls. There's a lot of girls here today that if you're in a classroom with boys, they take all the attention. Girls want to be very quiet and just learn stuff, but boys want the attention. And I got an idea for Chevy in this from a little girl I was teaching, and her name was Rachel, actually, and she was very determined that she was going to learn. And there was this one guy who just would not shut up, this big guy who kept laughing and shouting out the wrong answers on purpose. You know the kind of guy I mean. And I could see Rachel getting more and more angry and staring over at him. And it was interesting. I was wondering what would happen now. Would she get really angry? So every day for a week, he was making noise, and she was getting angrier and angrier, until one day, at lunchtime, I was sitting at my desk correcting some copies, because I was a teacher, I forgot to mention. And I look out the window, and I see Rachel stalking over to this guy. Now, she was about up to there on him. She was tiny, and he was huge. And I could see her giving out to him. I couldn't hear what she was saying, but I presume she wasn't saying, look, if I wave my finger, it's like I have 2 fingers. Isn't that amazing? No. I think what she was saying, it was, you better shut up, or I will get you. And just to make her point, she punched him on the knee. And it didn't hurt him, but he didn't know what to do. And he was like a fish. He was going, and he froze like an old computer. And for the next week, he didn't make a sound in my classroom. Now, I'm not saying I used Rachel as a missile, but occasionally I would say, oh, look at this guy, Rachel, he's making a lot of noise. Why don't you talk to him at break time? And she would. So she was like a weapon that I had to keep my class going. So that's where that character came from. A lot of my other characters come from my sons. I've got Finn, who is 15, and he is in the full bloom of being a teenager. Maybe he doesn't talk to me much. He just gets annoyed when I come in. I don't know what I did. I can walk into a room and he goes, oh. I said, what's wrong with you? Well, if you don't know. So eventually I would find out I'm breathing loudly or something. He would much prefer it if I would just take some cash, leave it in his room, and go away. But it is a very sad time in the life of a dad. A very sad time when that little kid who you have loved for many years, and he's looked up to you, and he's thinking, I want to be like my dad. And you've had that for a long time, and when suddenly that's gone. Because now, all teenagers, as far as I can see, the only thing that teenage boys think about is their hair. That is the only thing. They go into the bathroom and they spend about an hour making their hair stick up in 15 or 16 different ways. But once they come out of the bathroom, they cannot touch their hair ever again because it would not be cool to like your hair. So they just pretend, oh, this thing, that's the way I woke up, I didn't touch it. And so they walk around like this because they're trying to do their hair without touching it. And if you go down to the town any weekend when all the teenage boys are down there, they're all walking past the shop mirrors going, huh, uh-huh. They look like a big herd of horses that someone shot in the back. So anyway, that's a different thing. So every night you bring your little son to bed, you put him in bed gently, you tuck him up to his chin, and you say, well, I'll use my son's name. I say, well, Finn, good night. I love you. And he looks back up and he says, I love you too, Daddy. When I grow up, I want to be you. And you're thinking, yes, this is the best day of my life. And whenever this happened, I would go into my wife and say, darling, he still loves me. But then one day, last year, he's a teenager now. And when I went into his room and put him to bed, or I should accurately say, when I forced my way into his room and trapped him on the bed, and I said the words that I always say every night for 15 years. I said, Finn, I love you. And he looked at me and did this. I said, Finn, I love you. And this is what he said to me. Whatever. Now, I don't mind being insulted, but to be insulted in the language of the Disney Channel is a little bit annoying. And I went into my wife, Jackie. I said, Jackie, he said he doesn't say he loved me. He doesn't love me anymore. And Jackie said, well, he said he loves me. I'm the favorite. So I thought I was going to get this back recently. One more I love you from my son. Because ask your dads. When the kids say they love us, you know, they can get away with, we let them do anything. I remember I walked in and Finn was punching Sean in the head. I said, what are you doing? He said, I love you, Dad. I said, carry on. So it's a very powerful thing, and I thought it was gone forever. But then one day, recently, our whole family got on a plane, and we were on the plane. The two boys are there, Finn and Sean. They've got their headphones on. They're watching a movie on the little screens. I'm over this side with Jackie. We're sitting down, reading our magazines. Suddenly, I feel incredibly ill. This is true, really ill. I hope no one was on that flight, because they had to carry me up the aisle, and not in a good I'm getting married way. No, towards the toilet. They pushed me in there. I stayed in there for about an hour, and then I crawled out. So I was throwing up everywhere. And they gave me a big thing of oxygen, you know, those big canisters, and they put a mask over my face. So I'm lying there like this. Oh. But even though I'm really sick, I'm thinking in the back of my head, you know, maybe I can use this to get Finn to say he loves me one more time. So I kind of go a bit louder maybe than I should. Oh, I think I'm dying. I wish someone would tell me they love me. So, oh, I can see a light. Oh, that's the porthole. I'll close that. And I'm looking over. He's not even looking at me. He's looking, headphones on, looking at the screen. And I'm thinking, what do I have to do? Do I have to actually, you know, chop off an arm and wave it at him to get a bit of attention? I said, oh, Finn, is there anything you want to say to me about loving or something, anything like that before I go? Suddenly he sits up. He freezes. He looks over at me. He jumps out of his chair. And he said, I need to speak to Daddy. And the air hostess said, no, you can't go. He could be contagious. You could get this horrible disease. And I said, I don't care. Let him through. So he came in. I said, Finn, what do you want to say to me? He said, Daddy. I said, yes, Finn, what do you want to say to me? He said, Daddy, my headphones are not working. And it was then I knew that I had lost my son forever. Although apparently, teenagers come back when they're about 20. But so the other son, his name is Sean, and he is just turned 10. And you have got to be very specific when giving instructions to a 10-year-old boy, because they're waiting for a chance to change the instructions. For example, if I said to him, Sean, wait there, he would interpret there as anywhere in the world. So you come back and say, where were you? I said, wait there. I am there. No, you're there, here, there. He said, I am everywhere, God is everywhere. What's your problem? So he's very smart. And one time, he loved trumpets. You know the way little boys really get obsessed with things like trading cards? He got obsessed with trumpets for some reason. So I brought him to an orchestra, and there was a brass section, and we listened to the guy playing the trumpet, and he was hypnotized by the trumpet. He just sat there staring at this as if it was a magical lamp. Afterwards, I brought him up to meet the guy. He's a friend of mine. His name was Frank. And I said, Frank, this is my son Sean. He loves trumpets. Could he see your trumpet? And Sean was, And Frank said, Sean, you can look at this trumpet, but don't pick it up because it's worth 10,000 euro. Okay? So I put it on the ground on a velvet cushion, like it was, amazingly holy relic. And I started to talk with Frank. But like all dads can do, I felt in the vacuum at the back of my head that my son was moving. We can do this without looking. And I spun around, and Sean was going for the trumpet. I said, Sean, I told you, do not pick that trumpet up. And I turned away again. And I felt him go, Sean, what? I told you, don't pick up. I'm not going to pick up the trumpet. That's what kids do to make you seem stupid. They say exactly what you said to them, back in a silly voice. Like, finish your breakfast, finish your breakfast. It's one of their tactics. And teenagers do that really well. The other thing they do is they don't speak English. They just kind of murmur something that is very close to an insult as they're walking past. Did you finish that painting I gave you? So, but I know how to avenge yourself. If you're a parent or a teacher and you want to get back at your teenagers, this is what you do. It's a brilliant one. You find out what's their favorite song, and then you wait. And you wait until they're in the middle of all their friends, a big group of cool friends, and you just run and say, hey, I've just been listening to Kanye West. He's absolutely fantastic. And that means they can never listen to Kanye West ever again. So that's mostly, the kids are horrified, the adults are writing it down. Anyway, I feel the back of my head, turn around and say, Sean, do not pick up that trumpet. And then I turn away for the last time, and I hear the noise behind me. And I turn around, and he's lying on the ground, blowing into the trumpet. And I said, what are you doing? He said, you told me not to pick up the trumpet. I'm not picking up the trumpet. You should reward me for being clever. So that's the kind of boys I have. And they give me inspiration all the time. The other inspiration I get is from friends, as I told you, and my 4 brothers. And they gave me a lot of inspiration, so much so that I put them in a book. And I'll tell you why I put them in a book. Because I had 4 brothers. You probably have nice brothers. I had horrible brothers. And there were 4 of them. The little 3 were like, have you seen Jurassic Park, that movie? Do you know the raptors in Jurassic Park? They're a little bit like that. When we were small, they would just go around like, and during the winter, the summer when we were on holidays, they didn't like wearing clothes, so they would just run around in their underpants. They would leave the house in the morning in one set of underpants, and then they would come back, somehow wearing different underpants. We never found out where those underpants came from. We don't know. So they were my brothers, and we'd had brilliant times, but we also fought all the time too, but in a nice way. And my revenge on them for being horrible to me when I was a kid is I put them in the books, and then I kill them every time. And I feel great. It's like therapy for me. I don't have to pay a therapist bills. I don't recommend you do that, because if they find out about it, they might sue you. So I haven't told my brothers. Although if I keep talking about it into the television, I bet you they're going to hear it pretty quickly. Now, I want to tell you a little bit more about the book, because sometimes I just talk and talk and talk, and I don't even mention the book. So, as I said, the first book is called The Reluctant Assassin. And this reluctant assassin is a boy, 14-year-old boy, called Riley. Now, he came from the past, and he's being looked after by this horrible guy, Albert Garrick, who used to be a famous magician, but now is a murderer for hire. And on this very night, he takes Riley to a house. And this is to be Riley's first murder. And if he doesn't do the first murder, he is going to be murdered himself. And because Riley is quite religious, he thinks, if I kill someone, then my soul is damned to hell forever. So that's his choices. He can either kill someone and go to hell, or not kill someone and be killed himself. It's not much of a choice. So they break into this house, and they see the man on the bed that Riley is supposed to kill. He's standing there with the dagger shaking in his hand, and then something really strange happens. A green light pops on, and they know that they're in a weird situation. Neither of them know what's going on. Where's this light coming from? I don't see a bulb, and it's green. Why would it be green? And they realize the man in the bed is not as innocent as he might appear. And I think you've heard me standing up talking for a lot of time. I think we could see me sitting down talking, and a little bit of video where we went and we found the house and we made a film from WARP. So if you look at the screens, I think you're going to see me arriving in Victorian London.
In this section, our hero Chevy finds herself in the middle of a maelstrom when the house she is guarding suddenly begins to fall apart as the mysterious pod in the basement comes alive. 1 minute she's doing her exercises in the gym, all very peaceful, and the next, the walls are literally crumbling around her. Overhead, the lights flickered, then exploded, showering Chevy with glass and sparks. Through the window, she could see street lamps exploding all along Bailey Street and around the square itself. Beyond the square, the blackout rippled down towards Covent Garden and Soho as though some giant night creature was swallowing chunks of light. A bulletproof front-facing window cracked, allowing noise in from the outside world. Metal shrieked as cars collided on Tottenham Court Road, and the cry of panicked people rose into the dark London clouds which had lost their streetlight underglow. Whatever is happening, it started here, Chevy realized. She ran to the wall safe, punched in the code number, and pulled out her Glock 22. Chevy held the gun straight-armed in a two-handed grip, hoping that nothing would pop up and force her to shoot. She ran down the upper landing, sticking close to the wall. Around her, bricks grated and plaster fell in chunks. Emergency lighting blisters flickered on, bathing the interior in industrial yellow light. Good, thought Chevy. I can see whatever happens, which hopefully will be nothing. Chevy rattled her gun and told herself to focus, pulling a tight turn into the stairwell. She made her way carefully down the 2 flights of stairs. The basement steps before her were relatively intact, but the door had buckled and the central panel seemed to have melted. What could melt a steel door? This unspoken question was answered when a bolt of lightning sizzled through the glowing edges of the melt hole and took a good-sized lump out of the wall. Lightning. Okay. Chevy realized that she had squatted on her hunkers with her weapon aimed at the door. That's right, Agent. You can shoot the lightning. She gave it a few minutes until it seemed as though the indoor lightning bolts were over and done with, and then hurried down the remaining narrow steps. There was nothing left of the basement door but its frame. The melted edges had already solidified. There was no obvious threat beyond the ruined door, but dust and devastation. The warp pod itself had broken free of its brackets and was pointed nose down into the basement corridor. It looked for all the world like a small spacecraft had crashed into the house, which would make about as much sense as is what actually happening. A big machine is sucking the juice out of central London. The pod usually reminded Chevy of a science museum exhibit with its retro design and faded metallic finish. But now the machine seemed alive and totally functional, whatever its function might be. The thick power cables at its base hummed and crackled like electric eels, and a dozen light clusters flashed complicated patterns in total unison. "You there, in the pod," she called, feeling more than a little silly. "Come out with your hands up." No one emerged from the metal pyramid, but a hatch vented gas and then dropped with a loud clang to the floor. Ghostly sheets of steam floated from the interior. Chevy rose on her haunches and then moved stealthily towards the hatch, keeping her gaze pointed through the gun sights. "Come out with your hands up," she ordered once more, but again nothing emerged from the pod. It may have taken 3 seconds to reach the hatch, but to Chevy it felt like an age. Everything slowed down as adrenaline coursed through her system, stimulating her heart rate, dilating her blood vessels and all air passages. She saw sparks tumbling slowly from the conduits, and steam clouds seemed to stand still in the air. "Keep your focus, Special Agent," she told herself. "There is someone in that pod." Suddenly, time sped up again, and Chevy found herself in front of the hatch. Cold radiated through the opening, and orange sparks moved unnaturally towards each other, coalescing into something solid. Am I aiming my gun at a ghost? But there was something else inside, huddled, shivering in the cramped interior. "Don't move," shouted Chevy, using her most serious FBI voice. "Freeze, or I will shoot." A weak voice came from somewhere inside the orange cloud. "I am freezing, miss. My word on it." Before Chevy could wonder why the strange accent had her brain singing "Consider yourself," the cloud had dissipated, revealing the figure of a boy huddled over an old man. The boy was alive, but the old man was not, probably because of the knife jutting from his chest. Being dead was not the only thing wrong with this guy. The blood congealing on his torso was yellow, and one of his arms seemed to be that of a gorilla.
Wow. Well, that was a little reading from the book. I think that guy's a great actor. You should give him a big part. He should win an Oscar. Now that you've heard some of the words from my book, and you've heard me telling you about the people in the book, I think it's time to introduce one of the characters. This guy is an amazing magician, which he likes to do, but also a reluctant assassin, which he doesn't want to do. So to do some fantastic little magical tricks for us, please put your hands together for Riley.
Hello, Mr. Colfer.
Hey, Riley.
So nice to meet you.
Nice to see you. You're okay today?
Well, yeah, but I wish you wouldn't mention the assassin thing.
Oh, I see.
It all makes it a bit awkward for everyone.
He's not assassinating anyone today. Let's just make that clear.
Well, no. I want to show you something amazing, if that's all right. I've got some cards here, and all I want you to do is just reach in and take one for me. Anyone you like.
Okay.
I want you to have a look, and I want you to show everyone and show the camera for me as well. In fact, do me a favour. I want you to write your name, because you're famous now, so I want you to sign your name as big as you can across the face of the card and then show it to everyone for me, especially all the people watching. Okay. Perfect. I'll take the pen back. I know what you're like.
Can everybody see that? I'm trying to shield it.
Yeah, no, make sure I can't see it. I will see it in a minute anyway. But no, make sure I can't see it. That's important.
Okay.
Here's the idea. Look, I want to cut the cards. Pop your card on there for me. I'll show the camera one last time. Ready? Watch. Just there. Look. Perfect. Here's the idea. Look, if I put that about there, look. I'll feed it into the deck. I'll show you one last time just to show I'm not cheating. And then watch. Look, right there. About in the middle. Oh, I should show you one last thing. Look, just to show you there's absolutely nothing underneath. Just so I'm not cheating. There's no extra assistance or anything like that. Watch. We'll see if this works. Watch this. Right there, look. See if we get the cards to move. Ooh. Ready? Watch. One card cuts itself out the deck like that. Watch. You can run your hands over the top as well, Mr. Colfer. Make sure there's no strings or nothing. But look, one card's cut itself out the deck.
Oh, no way.
Did you see that?
I did.
Wouldn't that be good if it was yours?
It's impossible, though, but it would be great.
Well, let's give it a go. Hold on. I'll take that one out. I'll take those away. Mr. Colfer, would you do me the honour and show everyone that card? Have a look yourself first, and then show everyone else for me as well.
Isn't that fantastic? I don't know.
Oh, perfect. Thanks very much.
I think I'll keep this one as well.
Oh, yeah, keep it as a souvenir. Oh, actually, do you know what, Mr. Colfer? Do you know what I want to do instead? Do me a favour. Can I borrow it for a second?
Sure.
This might sound weird, but I'll try this. Look. You say you're probably quite, you're quite famous now, and you're quite ambitious.
Okay.
That's fair, right?
That is fair.
Okay. So let's try this. Do me a favour. Hold on to that for me just for a second.
Okay.
You can check it's still yours.
Well, it's a different one, but it is my signature.
You can show them. Go for it.
I don't know how that happened, but look, he's changed the card. That's a new trick.
Watch. Here's the idea. Look. We'll take it, look, and we'll leave it stuck out the deck like that so you can see, okay?
Okay.
About there. I'll leave it stuck out so everyone can see. Look, about there.
Okay. I can see it.
Yeah? Watch. We'll take that, we'll put it inside the deck about there, about halfway. Now, here's the idea. Every time you snap your fingers from now on, your card's going to jump to the top.
Okay.
You believe that, you'll believe anything, by the way. Go for it. Snap your fingers.
Okay.
Beautiful. Look what happens. Look, it jumps right to the top of the deck like that, you see?
Wow.
Now, do it really slow again so you can see. Watch. Take that again, look, with your name on it. About halfway down, all the way in the middle. Go for it. Snap your fingers for me. Jumps right to the top again, like... Oh. Can you snap a bit louder for me?
Okay.
Oh, perfect. That's good. Yeah, look, right there. Yeah, perfect.
Perfect.
Do it again really slow so you can see. Look, we'll take it again, look, about halfway down, all the way in the middle. This time, look, don't snap your fingers, just to show you again, look. If you don't snap, it doesn't come to the top, you see?
Okay.
Doesn't even come near the top, look. It's only when you snap your fingers, go for it.
Okay, everybody together. After 3. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, that was good.
That is good.
I tell you what, look, one last time, look. Oh, that's nice, thanks. So look, that's about, roughly, that's about halfway, right?
Yes.
And you can see that's about halfway as well, look. And that's still your card, right?
That is still my card.
I tell you what, look, come in really close, you can see, look, about here, look, watch. We'll take that there.
Okay.
And we'll take all those cards and spread them out.
All right.
We'll take your card like that, Mr. Colfer, and put it about there.
Okay.
Would you push that card in for me?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Aha, you see, that didn't work at all.
Oh.
Oh, my... How did that happen?
That's not really very fair, is it, Mr. Colfer? It's not very fair on you at all. I tell you what, look. We'll try one last thing. I'll be fair this time. Look, if I put a bend in it, watch.
Okay.
You'll see the moment it happens this time. Look, we'll show everyone as well watching. Look.
Yeah.
Place all those on top. Look.
Okay.
Watch that card for me. Go for it. Snap your fingers for me.
1, 2, 3. That is amazing.
Did you see it jump? Look, have a look for me. And show everyone else as well for me. And that's it. Bow to thunderous applause. Perfect.
Wow.
Now, you really can keep that.
I'll keep this one.
Yeah, you really can keep that as a souvenir this time. I tell you what, look, let me try something. Oh, you don't talk like all the other people I've heard in London.
No.
Whereabouts are you from?
I am from a small country called Ireland.
Oh.
Yes.
Is that far away?
It's not too far away. It's about, if you have a rowboat, you can get there in 3 hours.
Oh. That sounds like a long way. I'll try this, though. Look, I want to do something a bit strange. This is a bit weird. You talk in your book all about wormholes and time travel and other things I don't really understand. But I want to try something. Look, I've drawn a little map right there.
Okay.
Now, the map, look, there's an R just there.
Okay.
For Riley.
For Riley.
And there's a G. I'll put that down so you can see. Look, there's a G just round the corner. You know what that stands for?
I do.
Yeah, that's Albert Garrick. That's where he lives, and that's where he took me to when he first found me. But I want to put that to one side for a second because I want to draw a little map of where you live. Okay. So, on your street, do you live near the end or the middle of your street? I
live at the end of the street.
Okay. And is it a straight road or does it curve?
It curves just like an S.
Like an S. Okay, I'll put that in there like that. Good. All right, about there. And on your street, are there other houses?
There's one in the middle of the street and one at the head of the street.
Oh, blimey.
And the curves, kind of.
That sounds posh.
Yeah, it's very posh. It's very posh.
What about there?
I have a helicopter to drop me home every day.
Oh, good. I was going to ask how you got home, but that's good to know that. Let's put that there, watch. I hope they've laid on a helicopter for you for today.
I hope so.
Yeah, that would be good. Can I come?
Absolutely.
I don't know what a helicopter is. That'd be well exciting.
It's fine. We just strap you to the rotor. You won't be fine.
Okay. Let's put that about there, look. Perfect. I'll show you this in a minute, by the way, so you can see. Look, I'll put an E there for Owen. E for Owen.
That's right. We spell things a little differently in Ireland.
Oh, okay. I'll put those in. I'll put the other house in there as well so you can see. That's my map. It's not very good. I'm not very good at drawing.
No, it's pretty good.
You can see just there. Look, there's an E just there so you can see. You see it?
I can see the E, yes.
Yeah, perfect. Okay.
And the street.
And the street as well.
Yeah, it's very good.
I'll do this really slow so you can see, watch. If I take these and put them away, I've got something to make a wormhole.
Wow.
Well, not really.
No.
What I've got is a hole punch.
A hole punch?
Yeah, but let me show you, look. Yeah, perfect.
Oh, yes.
You can check it if you want to.
I can.
I know you don't trust me, so...
Never trust a magician.
No, I'm still learning. So watch, look. We'll take this, and we'll take it about there, look. And the idea is to take a hole and make a hole in your... outside my house, just there, like that.
Okay, there it is.
Do you see that?
I can see right through it, yes.
Perfect, watch. We'll take this and do it really slowly so you can see that. We'll take it and take that hole and move the wormhole down the road, watch. Right the way down the street, look.
That is magical.
All the way to the end, look, we'll leave it outside Master Garrick's house, like that, you see?
That's amazing.
That's good if that was possible, wouldn't it?
I can't believe that.
You can check it's a real hole.
It is indeed a real hole.
It's a real hole, but look, watch, we'll do it again really slow, look, take it really slowly. Hopefully you can see my finger behind it as well, look. I'll do it really slow, look. Take it, look, down the street, all the way to the end, like that. Hold on to that for me.
Okay, I don't want to lose this.
Perfect, no, don't lose it. And I'll take it, look, and drag it all the way like that. All the way to your house, look, down the windy road like that, right the way to the end, and leave it outside your house with an E on the roof. Oh, do you know any other magicians apart from me?
No, I don't.
Oh, well, that's a bit of a problem, because now you've got a whole load of trouble just outside your house.
That's amazing. Look at that.
I'll leave that as a souvenir too.
That is astonishing. And
thanks
I'm
ever so
right
much.
here, and I can't tell how you do it.
Very impressive.
Oh, hang on.
That is, if you like, cheap conjuring tricks. Perhaps Mr. Colfer would like to see some real magic.
Oh, this is my master Garrick. Well, you know, you created him.
Allow me to introduce myself. West End illusionist and assassin for hire, Albert Garrick. Introducing the guillotine. One razor-sharp stainless steel blade set above an aperture just big enough for a human arm.
That doesn't look razor sharp, you know. Some kind of trick.
Don't annoy him, Mr. Colfer.
Riley, please prepare a small snack for our author. Mr. Colfer, would you be so good as to place one of your arms within the aperture?
Oh, no, I don't think it's... What's all this red stuff there?
Oh, yeah, don't worry about that. It's just, paint is what it is, stage paint. Go on, like your watch. Let's put it there, right, okay. Perfect. Can you,
I love you, Jackie.
Oh, that's nice, he's saying goodbye. He's expecting to bleed a lot. Can you feel the blade?
I can certainly feel it. I could use one of those quantum holes right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, on the count of 3, we will now plunge the blade through Mr. Colfer's arm. I hope nobody was expecting a sequel.
Hang on a minute. Let's make sure they can see, look.
Quite right. The smaller apertures must also be filled. 1, 2. I should say, ladies and gentlemen, in the live audience, all those of a nervous disposition should look away now.
You're right, Mr.
As there may be
I'm
some
looking
blood
away, I'm looking away.
and gore. 1, 2.
Oh!
Oh dear, oh dear. It appears there may well be subsequent novels.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Eoin Colfer. Well, it's been a right pleasure to meet you, Mr. Colfer.
My pleasure, right up till the end.
Take care and, yeah, good luck with the arm. It shouldn't fall off too quick.
My goodness. I'm a little exhausted after that. I think we'll...
Maybe we'll take you down a little bit with some questions. I think you need a breather by the looks of it. Fantastic.
I wasn't in the script.
No, I know it wasn't. You did well. You did well. Right. Now we've got time now to answer some of the questions that we've had sent in from people online, and also we'll take some from the studio audience. But I'll start with a couple from the iPad.
Okay.
So, let's start with the first. Is Warp a follow-up from any of your previous books? And this is from Archie at St Hugh's Catholic Primary School.
Archie, if you're listening, it is not a follow-up. It's the first in a brand new series. I'm not sure how many yet, but at least three.
Okay, right. Now you've got over the seas one here from the United States. This is Jackie. And she wants to know, Mr. Colfer, being an inspiring writer, I was wondering what made you choose the name Riley for your lead character in Warp? I always find choosing names for characters to be the hardest part of writing, and I was curious as how to do it.
Well, naming characters in a book is almost like naming your children. When you find the right name, it totally becomes them. So I need a name that, it could be a first name or it could be a second name. You didn't know which. So after thinking about it for a long time and calling him several different names, I eventually settled on Riley. And as soon as I said it, I knew it was the right name. And I was going to call the book The Life of Riley, but apparently there's been a few other books called that already. So I wasn't allowed.
Ah, shame. Right, well, Anna from England and the All Saints, she would like to know, if you could swap lives with any character in your book, who would it be and why?
That's a tough one. I certainly wouldn't want to be a murderer. Or I would love to be the magician, Riley. If I could have the magic part of his life and not the murdering, I think I would definitely pick Riley, because I find all this magic fascinating. And I've seen those tricks a couple of times and I still have no idea. I feel so stupid, I think. It just makes me look stupid every time, but I love it. It's great.
Brilliant. Well, let's throw it out to the audience. I think we've got this young lady here who's got a question. What's your name, hon?
Miranda.
Hi, Miranda.
Ask your question, Miranda.
Did you get any of your ideas were you inspired by other books that you've read? And in particular, a series called Alex Rider, which I've read and seems to be quite similar to your Artemis Fowl book.
Thank you very much for that, Miranda. What you're saying is I took Anthony Horowitz's book and put some leprechauns in it. Are you Mr. Horowitz's representative here? Are you related to me? No, I do know Anthony very well, actually, and we both came out around the same time. I think I might have been out a little earlier than him, so if anything, he just stole my ideas and took the leprechauns out of them. So, but you do get inspired by other authors. But how that inspiration takes shape with me is if I'm reading something really good, like Stormbreaker, it inspires me to go away and write myself and be a better writer. But I think if you steal the stories, that's called plagiarism, and they send you to prison. So I'm not very eager to go to prison. No.
It's a good warning to put out there.
I think so.
Yeah. So what's your name, hon?
I'm Jessie.
Hi, Jessie.
Jessie.
Ask your question.
There seems to be good and evil in both Artemis Fowl and WARP. Is there any reason why you put so much good and evil in?
I'm very interested in characters who are not fully good, but not fully bad. And I think that's how life works. There's people, most of us are pretty good, but we have a little bit of bad. Maybe we do bad behavior occasionally, especially Miranda there. I'm very worried about her. Asking cheeky questions, bad. So that's how I portray people. And when you're out with your friends, sometimes everybody is in a good mood, but occasionally someone's in a bad mood. So I like to use a mixture of good and evil, which makes it more interesting to me. When I was a young boy in the 70s, I didn't like a lot of books because the hero was really muscly and tall, and he had blonde hair, and he had a birthmark on his elbow that meant he was a king. He had a sword and, a loyal dog and a servant. And I thought, I could never be that person. But when I read a book called Huckleberry Finn, where Huckleberry skipped out on school, he was cursing all the time, he smoked a pipe, he went off down the river with his best friend, a slave, I thought, I could be this guy. He is totally flawed, and I'm totally flawed. And that's when I decided, no more super guys, just guys who have some problems.
This leads nicely on actually to the next question, which is from Danny from the States. He's listening or watching this in Millsbrook Public Library.
Okay.
He's got his headphones on. He wants to know, if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Well, first of all, Danny, you owe me $50. I will be collecting when I come over. But secondly, if I had a superpower, I think there isn't a person here who didn't dream of being able to fly. And when I was a kid, I would dream about that all the time. And depending on the day I'd had, some days I would take off just before the pirates got me, and then other days I wouldn't be able to fly, and I would be standing there looking stupid as the pirates laughed before they killed me. So obviously I've gotten over that now. I'm not too worried. But if I could have one power, I would say flying.
Fab. Now, jumping down to Chile, we've got Priscilla, and she says, I know this is a question about Artemis Fowl, but I really need to ask you, when is Holly's birthday?
Oh, when is Holly's birthday? They have a different system of months down there, and she was born in the month of the iguana, which makes her a lizard girl. It would be, our thing would be Gemini. That's June, isn't it? So she is born on what we would call the 14th of June, but what they would call half the iguana. So I think 14th of June is pretty good.
Sounds about right.
But half the iguana is I like that, I think I was born on the 27th of Turkey, which, it's not quite so glamorous.
Paddy from St Hughes's Catholic Primary School in Lincoln, he wants to know what your advice is for people who of their age, so a little bit younger, and they want to write stories like yours in the future. Okay, well, my advice to you, Paddy, is to start with a short story, maybe a page or two, and then write 20 or 30 of those until you get really good at it, and then bring it up to 5 pages and do 20 or 30 of those, and then bring it up to like 10 pages. And hopefully by the time you get that far, you'll be so old you won't care about writing stories, and I can keep on selling books. So I'm just joking. I mean, do slowly, and by the time then you're 17 or 18, you might have finished your first novel. But you have to, as I said earlier, observe all around you, especially your funny friends. Those guys are a wealth of information. So hang out with those guys if possible. Fab, right, we're going to go back over to the audience there. So you've got the microphone. What's your name, hun?
Emily.
Emily, brilliant. Emily, do you want to ask your question?
In your Artemis Fowl series, the fairies are so different from a stereotypical fairy. Why are they so high-tech and have so many weapons?
Well, when I began to write this story, the fairies weren't high-tech. They were just normal fairies. But then I realized to myself, every writer in Ireland does a leprechaun book. So if I'm going to do a leprechaun book, it has to be very different from all the other ones. And I was looking at my class one day, and I was thinking, what appeals to these people that I'm trying to teach? What is the one thing that every one of these kids loves? And I thought to myself for a long time. At first I thought it might be soft felt caps, but that was wrong. What was right was they all love technology. They all love their PlayStation or their computer or their Wii or their... that's the Wii is the one you jump around with, isn't it? So everybody in the class, I said, who's got a game system at home? Everyone has a game system. Who has Sky? Everyone has it. So I said, the thing that these people love is the same thing that I love, technology. And so that's what I gave to the fairies to make mine a little bit different.
Fab. And what's your name, hun?
Natasha.
Oh, go on, ask your question.
How old were you when you decided you wanted to be an author?
I'm 27 now, so let me think. No, I started writing stories before I went to school, and I wasn't even able to write. So I had a blackboard and some chalk, and I would just write squiggles, and I would pretend that they were words. And when I went to school then, I realized you could write stories every day. So I was writing stories all the time. But I didn't consider myself a writer, I suppose, until I had my first book published. I remember the day very well. I know exactly how long ago it was. It was 15 years, because that's how old my son is. So I was waiting for the phone call. I'm holding the baby there. You have to watch this now. So there's the baby. There's the phone. Phone rings. Cling, cling. I use my free hand to pick up the phone. And I say, hello. That's what I always say when I answer a phone. And she said, this is the publishers. We're going to publish your book. And I went, yay! Oh! And yeah, I'm just joking. But that, yeah, I felt great. And I considered myself a writer. It is not, if you're a young writer now, and there's nothing that will ever beat the feeling of a soft felt cap. But after that, your own novel. If you're holding a novel with your own name written on the front of it, that is a fantastic feeling. And believe me, if you're a young writer, it is worth persisting and keeping going and not stopping. Even J.K. Rowling got rejected. Everybody gets rejected. All right, I didn't get rejected, but I'm special. So, yes, I did get rejected. So if you get your first novel back and they say we don't really like it, you just keep going and you write another one.
Now, this is referring back to your WARP books. This is Miss Hover from Blackthorn Primary School. She wants to know why you chose the Victorian era.
Why did I choose the Victorian era was that I had written another book previously called Airman. And that book was set in the same era. And I did loads of research for London. And then I didn't use any of it. I ended up cutting that scene. So I knew that someday I wanted to go back to London. And it's such a great time. If you ever read about the Victorian, they all lived in these massive big slums. There was no toilets, so you just stick your bum out the window. It was horrible. But, of course, I loved all that. They didn't have technology, really, even though the Industrial Revolution was starting up. They didn't have a whole lot. And the life expectancy of a child, if you made it to 5 years old, you were like the survivor. If you had 5 friends, 3 of them would be dead by 5. The other one would be dead by 7. So if you made it to 7, you're thinking, yes, I made it. Now, you couldn't just kill these people. That's not how it works. You can't kill the other 4 people and then be the survivor. They have to die by other. And look, poor old Garrick, even though he's a horrible guy, he lost a family of 10 to cholera. And it just swept through the whole city. So it's not really, it wasn't really a great time for stand-up comedy, but it was a great time to write about it. You've all seen Oliver Twist, or you read Oliver Twist, fantastic Dickens. And there was great guys writing there, like there was Stevenson, Jules Verne, all these people before then or around then. So I loved those books as a kid. I loved them.
So we've just got time for one more question. So I'm going to take this from Finn, who's in Massachusetts. He wants to talk about time travel. He says it's something you've previously used in other books.
Yes.
Wants to know what got you so interested in that topic.
I was interested in, thank you, Finn. My son is called Finn, and so I was a little worried there that it would be like an insulting question from my son. Well, no, I did it once. I've told this story. We were in the Royal Albert Hall, me and Philip Arda and a few other people who were less important than us. And there we were. And my son Finn was sitting up the back corner, and he put his hand up, and I was thinking, no way am I asking him, because he'll do something very insulting. But eventually I had to ask him, and I said, yes, little boy. And he said, yes, Mr. Colfer, I believe you have 2 sons. And I said, that is correct. And he said, which one would be your favorite? So I never ask him anymore, because I know he's going to nail it. But anyway, time travel, I've always liked it. When I was a kid, there was a great series on that maybe some of the teachers remember, called The Tomorrow People. And it was about these kids who would travel through time. And that was my favorite show. And I said, as I was sitting there, someday I'm going to write a book about time travel. And so I did.
Fantastic. Well, look, I'd like to say thanks so much to all for all your fantastic questions and ideas. It's been great to have some of them answered. I'm afraid that's all we've got time for. And I'd just like to say thanks so much from us here at Puffin Virtually Live. Now, if you've enjoyed what you've seen and heard today and like to see a little bit more of the fantastic magic performed, Eoin is actually going to be appearing at the Birmingham Conservatoire this Saturday on the 20th of April at 2 p.m. And all the actors will be there and our magician. And we're going to bring Warp's colourful characters to life. The box office details are on the screen right now. I do advise you book quickly or the tickets may vanish, so get in there now. And once again from me, a huge thanks for logging on today, and I hope you're able to join us for our next Puffin Virtually Live broadcast. Goodbye from Eoin, say goodbye. Lovely, and goodbye from me. Thanks very much.